Hey guys, welcome back to Serial at Midnight. This is a celebration of the movie Jaws. As this video goes up today, the day this is posted, this is the 50th anniversary of the movie Jaws, the movie that changed everything. And we're going to talk about Jaws, and we're going to talk about how Universal is celebrating this anniversary. So first of all, let's talk about 50 years of Jaws. This movie has it's bitten into pop culture and held on through all the sequels, through all the decades. And I feel like it's more powerful now than it was when it first came out, because now there's this legacy of Jaws. And one of the things that I should talk about is, so there's a new 4K. Universal is commemorating this with a brand new 4K. Now, if you're like, well, I already have a 4K, and you're shaking your fist at the sky, you don't have to, just because Universal's put something new out, you don't have to buy it. But this does have something we don't have, and it's really cool. It has Jaws at 50, the definitive inside story. This is a brand new documentary about Jaws for its 50th anniversary, and it is an official inside look at the creation of Jaws with Spielberg. Spielberg has turned over his home movies for this thing. I have the cast list pulled up here because I wanted to tell you it's an inside look, and it's also a celebration. So with the inside look, they're talking to Spielberg. The director says, "Is there anything about Jaws that you haven't talked about over the years?" And then they show him clips of himself in the 70s when he was 27 years old. It's crazy that Jaws was made by a guy that young. So Steven Spielberg, of course, is in it. Emily Blunt, Jordan Peele, Guillermo del Toro, J.J. Abrams. Steven Soderbergh says he's seen Jaws. I think he says he saw it 31 times, and that Jaws is the movie that made him want to be a filmmaker. So I don't think I knew that. Some of you guys probably did. George Lucas, Lorraine Gary, Cameron Crowe is in the movie. So you see all these filmmakers. We got John Williams, Greg Nicotero, the effects titan. There's a huge list of people that are in this documentary to commemorate the thing. It's a full 90-minute documentary. And I should also mention, as this video is going up, now this doesn't matter in 2035, but if you're watching this video in June of 2025, tonight, as this video is hitting YouTube, that documentary is airing on network television. But if you miss it, have no fear, because it's also going to play. By the way, it gets its own Blu-ray disc. We have the movie on 4K. We have, oh geez, do you see that? It just fell right out. We have the movie on 4K, we have the movie on Blu-ray, and then we have the documentary on Blu-ray. It's going to stream, I think it's in early July. It's streaming in, I think, the National Geographic platform, or it's through National Geographic, and it's going to be on Disney Plus and Hulu. But it's just amazing to me that Jaws has really continued to inspire and scare the pants off of people. I mean, they do screenings of this movie in the water. I got to see Close Encounters of the Third Kind on the airstrip where they filmed part of that movie in Alabama. But I've never seen Jaws in the water. And I don't think I would want to see Jaws in the water. That would make for such an unnerving experience. But what do you think about the movie Jaws? And do you remember the first time you saw it? Do you remember, what is your relationship like with that movie? I mean, it's the movie that also, you draw a line in movie history. Before Jaws, you have lots of interesting, different kinds of movies. You have a Hollywood that's, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The premise of the book, The Big Goodbye, which is about the making of Chinatown, is that it was the last Hollywood movie, because Jaws changed Hollywood movies. It's the first major blockbuster. Not that there hadn't been blockbusters before, but Jaws is the movie that really creates the modern blockbuster as we know it, where people are going to see movies a dozen times or more in the theater. And then, of course, that gives way to Star Wars, and then Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and then Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then Alien is in there. The modern blockbuster, as we know it, started 50 years ago today with Jaws. So it's a movie that we can't overestimate. We can't talk too much about it. We can't say, you know, I'm sure there are people out there who are like, I mean, it's okay, it's not that great, but the impact of Jaws is incredible. And I mean, it's such a quotable movie. It's such a visually striking movie. The fact that the shark wasn't working is amazing. And of course, that is what gives us the magic of the shark, because the less we see it, it's the Hitchcock thing, right? The less we see, the more is left to our imagination. And that's what really gives us the you know, what we can imagine is even worse than what we see on screen. Though what we see on screen in this movie is at times pretty horrible. A personal recollection of mine is we showed Jaws to my daughter when she was pretty little, not too little, but I mean, she was probably 8 maybe. And maybe some of you guys were like, unbelievable. But think about some of the stuff that we were watching when we were 8 in the 1980s. You know, I mean, the horror movies and stuff. So don't clutch your pearls just yet. And she, when at the end of the movie, spoiler, when Jaws dies, or does Jaws die because there's so many sequels, she said, I'm sad that they killed Jaws because he was my favorite character. And I love that. That's one of those things that your kids say that you hold on to forever. That Jaws, the title character of Jaws, was her favorite character. And right, is Jaws all of our favorite character? You know, I don't know. You could go with Quint, you could go with Roy Scheider, you could go with, you know, Richard Dreyfuss. Is "Show Me the Way to Go Home" your favorite character? The song from the movie. It's just an incredible movie, and I wanted to talk about this new 4K because I think it's pretty great. They've carried over all the special features, the making of Jaws. The shark is still working, the impacting legacy of Jaws, and that was co-produced. And the composer of that was Michael McCormack, who came on the Serial at Midnight. We did a commentary for Jaws right here for free on Serial at Midnight on YouTube. I'll have a link to it somewhere here. But one of the producers of The Shark is Still Working and the composer of the soundtrack for that did a commentary with me for Jaws, and you can go watch that right now for the 50th anniversary. Jaws, the restoration, deleted scenes, and outtakes from the set, the original theatrical trailer. It's a nice release, and some of you guys, I want to say this because I know anytime a new release comes out, somebody's like, why do they expect us to buy this again? Well, they don't. It's part of a studio's job to keep their legacy not only in print, but fresh and vital and continually evergreen, so that we don't forget those movies. It is a studio's job to keep those movies in the zeitgeist. And by doing releases like this one, there might be people who have come to Jaws in the last year or two who are just entering the collecting hobby, the physical media hobby, that don't have Jaws on 4K. There might be people that do, and they really want that new documentary. I am really glad that I have Jaws at 50 on Blu-ray because it's in my collection now. I don't have to worry about where it's streaming. If that comes in, streaming is unreliable anyway, right? Because streaming is always going to go. Nothing is on streaming permanently. And if I miss the broadcast, the television broadcast of this, it doesn't matter. I don't have to worry about all those commercials either. Just watch the thing, watch the 90-minute doc in my own Blu-ray setup, my own home theater setup. You know, that's why we do this. So again, Jaws. What's your favorite? Here's the question. In today's world, it stands to reason that eventually everything gets remade or sequelized. Could there be another Jaws? And what would it look like? Would you want to see a Jaws remake? Or it wouldn't be a remake because they'd want to satisfy the fans. They would want to do Jaws like the new generation or something like that. They'd want to do Jaws that pays homage. It'd be Roy Scheider's son, probably. And he'd have a kid of his own, and it would be that kid that's getting in trouble in the water. I don't know. That's the way they would do it, because I know how these screenwriters think. They're like, well, you connect it to the original, you remind them of the nostalgia for the original, and you give them fresh thrills. Would you want to see something like that? Or does Jaws stand on a pedestal, untouchable? Interesting, right? The soundtrack, you know, the dun-dum. I even think about the Saturday Night Live sketches with the shark, you know, the land shark. Like, that's Jaws, right? All of this comes... The impact of this movie is immeasurable. The way that it has impacted other creators and other movies and just pop culture in general. it's Titanic. It's up there with Star Wars. It's up there with all of the greatest movies ever made. It's up there with the Ten Commandments, with Ben-Hur, probably more than Ben-Hur, right? It's a huge thing. Let's talk about Jaws. Let's celebrate Jaws. Jaws is 50, you guys. Jaws is 50. I'm 50, and I can kick. Does anybody get that reference? All right, I'm gonna wind this one down. I'm gonna put a link in the description where you can pick up Jaws on 4K and support this brand new release. Thanks to Universal for keeping these things keeping them in the culture, and for spending money on a new documentary that tells the story like we've never seen it told before. I'm telling you guys, you get Spielberg watching his home movies and watching interviews of himself from 1975. It's crazy. Seeing those home movies, it's crazy. So, Jaws, happy birthday. Don't eat me. You know, I'd like to make it to the 60th anniversary. So thanks for that, Jaws. Continue the conversation in the comments below. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Till next time, I will catch you later.